Tampa General Hospital and USF Health, Morsani College of Medicine are bringing the power of academic medicine to Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. For nearly 2 decades, Tampa General has been ranked as one of the nation's best hospitals. And for over 50 years, Tampa General has been Florida's leading academic health system. Learn more about their growing network of physicians at tgh.org/the Palm Beaches. Welcome to the Palm Beach North Podcast. I'm your host, Noel Martinez, and today we have a good friend of mine, Mr. Michael Hoffman. He is the president and CEO of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. He spent over 15 years in Baltimore working with the Federation there. He's been here in Palm Beach County for the past 10 years. As you can imagine, he's extremely passionate about serving and strengthening Jewish life and building community connections. Michael, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Noel. Really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
That's cool.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey, right? Every leader has a journey that shapes their path.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about your story, your journey, and how you ended up here in Palm Beach County.
Look, I kind of view myself as a product of all these things that Jewish philanthropists and Jewish federations fund to help sort of build and strengthen Jewish life amongst our next generation. When I was a kid, I went to an overnight Jewish camp up in the Berkshires, Camp Eisner. I got to give a shout out to them. And, I started going and was 8 or 9 years old, went there for about 13, 14 years. And that really sort of planted the seed. It ultimately kind of grew into this tree, this wonderful plant that sort of gave me so much inspiration to pursue a career, to pursue a passion in Jewish professional leadership. On college at the University of Cincinnati, I was very involved in Hillel, the Jewish student campus organization. They sent me to Israel for the first time when I was a junior in college. That actually sparked another seed of mine. And then upon graduating from college, that's when I was able to kind of start my path. I wanted to sort of engage my professional passion in helping support and strengthen Jewish life, Jewish leadership, giving back to the things that help give me so much inspiration and so much nourishment in my life. And I've had the joy and privilege for the past 25 years plus of expressing Jewish leadership, connecting with Jewish life, and helping build Jewish communities here in Palm Beach. When I was in Baltimore, when I worked at our national system, and it's really been an honor and a privilege to do this work. It's cool.
So you spent a lot of time in Baltimore. What brought you here to Palm Beach County? Why did you choose Palm Beach County?
I was in Baltimore for 15 years. It was a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful Jewish federation. I was mentored. I learned there. Got to the point I knew I wanted to lead a Jewish organization. I wanted to be a CEO. The opportunity with Palm Beach came up. I was recruited to come down here. At the time, I just started to hear about Palm Beach being a community that started to transition and wasn't kind of that sleepy seasonal community anymore. This was 2015. Look, the other draw for my wife and myself and our 2 kids is we had both of our parents and grandparents live down here. So my in-laws live up in Palm Beach Gardens right by us. They were here for a season. My parents live down in Wellington year round. So for my kids who were 12 and 9 at the time to be able to move to a community right down the street from grandma and grandpa, from both sets of grandparents, that's really the family draw was just a huge aspect for us.
Tell me a little bit about the difference between the Baltimore Jewish community and the Palm Beach Jewish community. Are there some big differences?
I'll start by saying there's zero similarities. You have a place like Baltimore, a wonderful community steeped in history, a community that goes multiple generations. Then you come to a community like Palm Beach, and we're really in the thick of it right now, which has been going through so many changes. The history of the Jewish community in Palm Beach, it started as a small little Jewish community about 60 or so years ago in West Palm Beach, about 5,000 people living in a Jewish home. And it basically just kept going through different chapters in its life, which is very unusual for a Jewish community. Typically, Jewish community just sort of builds upon foundations. We kept changing chapters and really changing books. So what started as a small little Jewish community, about 5,000 people, then kept growing. About 2007, there were about 100,000 people living in a Jewish home in Palm Beach County, in North County, I should say. 80% lived here seasonally, 20% lived here year round. And then what we find today is that now we're a community of almost 180,000 people living in North County, which is our Federation service area, Boynton Beach all the way up north through Martin County. 80% live here 10 months or longer. In 2007, we had 8,000 Jewish kids in our community. Now we have almost 30,000 kids in our Jewish community. And so it's an exciting place to be. We're constantly reinventing ourselves. We have the opportunity to be entrepreneurial here, try new things. And to me, that's one of the most exciting things about not just being able to lead the Jewish Federation and work with our volunteers and my colleagues, but it's a playground here. It's exciting.
How does our Jewish population compare to, let's say, other counties throughout the state?
So if you take up all of Palm Beach County, so again, we are, there's 2 Jewish federations in Palm Beach County. People ask, why is there 2 federations? So 60 years ago, it was 1 Jewish federation anchored in West Palm Beach. And then about 10 years later, the Boca community really started to develop. And again, you're talking 50, 60 years ago, there was nothing in between Boca and West Palm Beach. So it wasn't developed yet. So the Jewish community in Boca, they wanted to have their own Jewish federation. So the Jewish Federation of South Palm Beach was established. Now, fast forward today, in the entire county, we have 350,000 people living in a Jewish home. And that's the 4th largest Jewish community in the country: New York, LA, Chicago, and Palm Beach County.
Bigger than Miami.
Bigger than Miami.
Wow.
Miami has about 150, 160,000 people living in a Jewish home. It's growing. North County, where we are, is growing at a very, very rapid pace. Again, in 2018, we had 160,000 people living in a Jewish home. Now we're up to 186. We're going to approach 200,000 over the next 3 or 4 years, just based on the number of developments that are taking place. And geographically, we're incredibly spread out. Palm Beach County, and you guys know this because you will live it, breathe it. It's the 2nd largest county east of the Mississippi in terms of landmass. So again, people say, why are there 2 federations? We're so geographically spread out. Even in our federation service area, we focus on Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter, Wellington, Boynton Beach, downtown, Central West Palm Beach Island, Martin County. You know how it goes here. People don't really go across the street.
Yeah, they don't go across the street. Yep, I hear it, Yeah. So, leading an organization like the Federation has a lot of responsibility, comes with a lot of responsibility, but it also has some great rewards, right? So what has been the most fulfilling part of your work?
It's always about the people. I have the complete privilege and honor of working with the most passionate, dedicated group of lay leadership or volunteers and professionals. These are people who strongly believe in the mission of the Jewish Federation, which is to strengthen Jewish life here in Palm Beach and in Israel and around the world. They come to the table with their sleeves rolled up, wanting to make a difference in people's lives. So again, we have over 500 volunteers involved in all the different committees through the Jewish Federation. That doesn't include our partner agencies like the Mandel JCC and Alpert Jewish Family Services and Meyer Prep. They have their own set of volunteers. We have, over 7,000 donors to our annual campaign. But these are people that are just showing up every day, and they express such a passion for building Jewish life. They express such a passion to they express noise there.
Yeah, we got a little fire truck.
Fire truck going on. So, they express such a passion, like when there's crises in our Jewish world. For example, when the war broke out in Israel on October 7th, 2023, the way in which this community basically stepped out and not, contributed concern and dollars. Again, we're just blessed to have just amazing, dedicated, passionate people involved in our organization.
So, there's so many moving parts in the Federation. I imagine that 2 days don't look exactly the same for you.
2 hours.
2 hours, exactly.
Yeah.
So tell me what a typical day looks like for you.
So I think every day, typical day, where I try to think about who are the people. It really goes back to the last question. Who are the people I get to interact with on a daily basis? Who do I get to have a conversation with to talk about what their aspirations are related to Jewish life? That could be helping kind of think through how we can, support and strengthen congregational life here in Palm Beach County. Our synagogues play such a critically important role of, contributing to the vibrancy of Jewish life. What role can we play to helping support that? It could be talking to a volunteer, a professional, a donor about their concerns for Israel. So how can we talk to them about our efforts to rebuild the people of Israel and the state of Israel during this very, this very difficult time in Israel? I think we're also talking about knowing that this community continues to build and develop and grow. What do we want our community to be? Again, having gone through so much changes as a Jewish community here in Palm Beach, like I said before, it's a playground. So we have a unique opportunity to think about what does the Jewish community of tomorrow need to look like, and how are we going to get there together? So it's a very dynamic conversation, but at the end of the day, it goes back to one person that I have an opportunity to speak with, to talk to, and sort of help them understand what their aspirations are for Jewish life.
So I want to continue to talk a little bit about your role at the Federation, because I think it's super interesting, because you've got to do so many things. You're juggling so many balls in the air, everything from strategic planning to fundraising to staying connected with what's going on in Israel. So how do you juggle all that?
We throw a lot of balls up in the air. We see which one we have to catch first. We hold that one really tight, and then we kind of keep catching other balls. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's one of the things. That's why this role, this job is such a privilege, because I have an opportunity to have tentacles to so many different things. And it helps me fulfill some of the passions that I have personally as a Jew, as a Jewish leader, and to be able to do these things with individuals who have share that deep commitment. Clearly, we're very focused on Israel right now. It's very focused on sort of what are the needs in Israel, and like I said before, how are we helping Israel rebuild? It's been a true privilege to have been able to have gone to Israel 10 times since October 7th, taking a variety of different groups, some of our donors and philanthropists and people like you, which was such an extraordinary experience to kind of see what's happening in Israel and to support Israelis through this very, very difficult time. It's certainly dealing with issues related to community priorities and politics, dealing with our stakeholders in the non-Jewish community. One of the main issues we're focusing on right now is how we're combating anti-Semitism and issues of community security. So dealing with local law enforcement, who is so incredibly supportive to ensure that our Jewish community here in Palm Beach County feels safe and secure, and they have a zero tolerance policy when there are issues of harassment or anti-Semitism against our community. We also view ourselves as we're not spiritual leaders in our community. I'm certainly not a spiritual leader, but we do play a role of civic engagement in our Jewish community and helping support our constituents and our donors and our leaders as they're trying to figure out how they want to lean in to engage with Jewish life from a civic perspective. And so it's fun.
So, I've learned this over the past year and a half through my friendship with you and my involvement with the Jewish Federation. The Jewish community in Palm Beach County is extremely diverse.
Yeah.
All kinds of different backgrounds, experiences. Yeah. How does the Federation stay in tune with everyone's needs?
So one is, we like to say that the Jewish Federation, that we are a tent where all of its sides are very open. We want to ensure that we are a welcoming organization, that it doesn't matter your level of diversity, that it doesn't matter your household structure, doesn't matter ethnicity, that our job is to sort of make sure that we are a welcoming organization, and anyone who wants to engage in Jewish life and Jewish engagement, we want to embrace you with open arms. We have geographical diversity between how the Jewish community, acts and thinks and does, and Boynton Beach is very different than obviously Palm Beach Island. And for us, it doesn't matter, because all we're trying to do is create meaningful and relevant connections to Jewish life. Doesn't matter who you are, who's in your house, where you live, where you're from. We just want to make Jewish life relevant for you.
Let's dig into the Federation a little bit more and the impact and everything that you guys are doing, right? So a lot of people have heard of the Jewish Federation, but a lot of people don't know really what the Jewish Federation does, right? So tell me a little bit about its mission, and how would you describe its work?
So again, the mission of the Jewish Federation is to strengthen Jewish life here in Palm Beach and in Israel and around the world. Our vision is to ensure that we have the human and financial resources necessary to ensure that we are fulfilling the needs of our Jewish community. As a Jewish Federation, I like to call ourselves, to describe it, as a city hall of our local Jewish community. We work with a variety of different local agencies and beneficiaries. Again, Jewish Family Services, the JCC, Meyer Prep Day School, Kramer Senior Services, Jewish Volunteer Center. All of those serve as critically important arms of our Jewish Federation, critically important partners of our Jewish Federation. Jewish Family Services basically represents Federation in human and social service needs. The Mandel JCC serves as Federation's arm for outreach and engagement for the Jewish Federation. Our Jewish Volunteer Center basically serves as the conduit to facilitate hands-on volunteerism, but our role is to serve as a central philanthropic body and to serve as the central leadership body. So as that city hall, we set a very diverse table of any number of different partner institutions as well as community members to ensure that we are collaborating together, we are elevating each other together, that we have a strong understanding of what our priorities are as a Jewish community. And that's the role of a federation, to bring everyone together so we can support the needs of our community.
Like any other organization out there, a successful organization, as it grows, it evolves, right? Because there's so many things that change around it. How's the federation, how has it evolved to meet the needs of our community and everything that's going on? Because we got all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
You got that right. Look, this federation used to be, it's a very dynamic organization, because if we're not nimble and fluid, it's just not an option not to be nimble and fluid. So if you kind of, again, trek backwards a little bit, there was a time, just because who lived in this community, we mostly catered to an older seasonal community. We really only had programs and services for a 4 or 5 month period of time, because that's when the main demographic and our population base was 70 years and older. Fast forward, our demographics have changed so dramatically. So now we basically have to shift our focus, where we will still provide services for those seniors who are aging in place, and so they live the rest of their lives in dignity. But we are also very much focused on ensuring that all of those younger Jewish families, young adults living in our community, that they have a meaningful place to connect, and they're starting their Jewish journey. So they're engaged in Jewish life for an extended period of time. Most recently, we've had to really respond to a couple different, really these draconian global instances that have taken place. Clearly, COVID was a hard reset for us, just like everybody, but how we needed to provide services to those individuals who were reeling from the impact of COVID. There was the war in Ukraine, where 200,000 Jews living in Ukraine, many of them were forced to flee. Many of them also stayed. How we as a federation were working with our overseas partners, American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, and the Jewish Agency for Israel, how they were providing life-saving services for those individuals in Ukraine who were not able to leave during the war, and that's still going on. Then there was the rise in anti-Semitism, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a little bit later in this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's been sort of a major area of focus of ours, and how we're combating anti-Semitism and hatred, not just against the Jewish community, but the role we want to play in combating hatred in the entire Palm Beach County. And now for the past, 500 days, depending on when this podcast is aired, past 16, 17 months, our response and how we're supporting the people of Israel during this extraordinary, difficult time. So the agenda is not lack of stuff to do.
Well, you talked about the people of Israel. How does the Federation foster the connection between Palm Beach County and the people of Israel?
So Israel is such a critical part of our mission, of what we do as an organization. And Israel just plays such a critical part of what our identity in as a Jewish community and as a Jewish people. The Jews living in Palm Beach County are some of the most Zionistic supporters of Israel than in any other community across the country. We're very privileged to have people that are so committed to Israel. We have been supporting and working with the people of Israel since our founding 60-something years ago. We have two main primary organizations, the Jewish Agency for Israel and the Joint Distribution Committee. Committee. They provide a significant number of human services, educational services. They've helped resettle Jews from other countries into Israel over the past, since the founding of the State of Israel. One of our largest allocations we make, where grants, goes to the Jewish Agency for Israel to help support the people of Israel in Israel. We've maintained a partnership. We have a sister city relationship with the communities of Tzfat, Chatzor, and Rosh Pinah. That's in the northern part of Israel for about 30 years. And these are true friendships. When I go into the city of Tzfat, I feel like I'm going home, because in that city, it's our friends. We go to people's homes for dinners. They come to our community. These are true people-to-people relationships. And again, Israel's at the core of what we do as an organization. And so it's critical that we always find ways to bring Israel into our community, as well as to find ways for us to make sure that we're supporting Israel in whatever way it needs right now.
So you know what? This is a perfect time, because I really want to get into our community and what kind of an impact the Federation is doing right here at home. But before we do that, why don't we take a short little break, take 60 seconds for our friends at Tampa General Hospital. We'll be right back. We're talking with Dr. Luis Pena, a lung specialist from TGH's Pulmonary Care and Sleep Institute. Doc, I want to talk about COPD. I've heard the term, but I really don't know what it is. So tell me about it.
COPD is the chronic obstruction of a person's airways. Usually is caused by cigarette smoking, but there are other conditions that can cause it, like environmental exposure to contamination or chronic asthma, sometimes chronic infections or genetic disorders.
How do you know you have it?
People with COPD have a chronic cough, sputum production, or frequent bouts of bronchitis. So that's when you should go to your doctor, and we can do pulmonary function testing. We can assess the exact lung function and determine if you truly have or don't have COPD.
Can it be treated?
It can be treated. We use nebulized drugs, inhaled drugs, and lately there are medications that can be injected, like dupilumab, which can be injected once a month. It can decrease the inflammation of people's airways.
All right, that was great, Doc. Thank you so much. And that was your Medical Minute, brought to you by your friends at TGH. All right, so here we go. So Jewish life spans all generations, right? From young families to seniors. How does the Federation ensure here locally that every age group is supported?
Kind of have a saying here, a little kitschy, I'm going to admit it, but we want to basically serve the needs of the Jewish community from baby to bubby. It's a little kitschy, I admit it. But it's true, though, because it doesn't matter what stage in life, whether it's Federation or one of our partner agencies, whether it's our synagogues, everyone has a role to play to ensure that we're helping foster and facilitate a meaningful engagement in Jewish life. When it really starts sort of at birth. We have Mommy and Me classes at our JCC. We have a thriving preschool at our Mandel JCC up in Palm Beach Gardens and Boynton Beach. Our JCC Camp Shalom summer camp. It regularly sells out every year, a couple days after registration opens. So we have to increase the number of slots. But again, it's a wonderful opportunity for our kids to connect and engage with Jewish life programs like PJ Library, which sends free Jewish books to households. We have a tremendous number of families with young children engagement opportunities. We just started a new program called Community Connectors, where we basically have identified, as of now, 20, we hope to get to 50. It's almost paraprofessionals, different people living in communities throughout our expansive geographical area, up in Treasure Coast and Martin County, down in the canyons, down in Boynton Beach. And their job, what they've been trained to do, is to connect with their neighbors. And they put on, whether it's Shabbat dinner programs, whether it's a volunteer program, they're there to basically connect people with Jewish life in ways that'll help them interact with each other, meet each other, hang out with each other, and hopefully that helps them launch on their own Jewish journey. We go up through active adults. Our JCC has a number of programs. Our synagogues have a number of programs related to Jewish education, all the way through our seniors. And again, we're there to care for our seniors. We want them to age in place. We want them to live their lives through a dignity. Our Jewish Family Services provides care services. So it's really any stage of life. We're there to support you and your needs, as well as to engage you so you have a vibrant thriving, exciting Jewish experience.
So you just mentioned a ton of different programs that the Federation offers. Are there any of those programs that really hold a special place in your heart?
Well, they all do.
Of course, you got to say that, but which
But
one
I'll
really
give a
like
couple
pulls it?
shout outs. One is our Cole Jewish Volunteer Center. We started this program about 9 or 10 years ago now. And the Cole Jewish Volunteer Center, its job is to basically help support and facilitate hands-on volunteerism in our community. And since it started as a small little program 10 years ago, now this past year, over 5,000 people have basically through JVC have participated in some type of volunteer activity. And what's nice about the JVC, Jewish Volunteer Center program, it's low barrier, meaning that you can come to our Martin Luther King Day of Service that we have every Martin Luther King Day in January. This year, we had over 1,000 people volunteering in 27 sites throughout Palm Beach County. You can participate in Good Deeds Day. You can be going to the Kind Kitchen in North Palm Beach and packing and delivering meals to homebound seniors. It doesn't matter. It's basically, you were able to do it on your own terms. You can bring your friends, some of whom may not be Jewish. It doesn't matter. All we're trying to do is kind of take the value of chesed and make the world a better place and sort of engage in volunteerism, and just people walk away feeling as though that they gave back to community through their hands and their hearts.
So sometimes, the best way to really understand an organization's impact is through personal stories, right? Can you share an example of a moment that really has showcased the work that the Federation is doing?
There's so many stories. One of them I'm going to share actually took place in Israel. Again, we have been supporting a program, our partnership in Sfat, Chatzor, Rosh Pinah, for 30 years. And there's a particular program there. It's called Young Ambassadors, where we basically help take kids, teenagers from lower socioeconomical situations in our partnership city. They engage in an educational enhancement program. They have mentors. We kind of prep them so they can go into the army in Israel, which is mandatory, and then go on to college. And this one young woman who kind of started with us at the earliest age in one of our younger programs for kids and teens in our region, she kind of went through all of our programs, and she's now the deputy mayor of Chatzor. And so it's nice to be able to see sort of taking kind of a young person, giving them the seeds that they're able to plant and nurture and water and to grow. And then, 15 something years later, to see this person giving back to her community in a position of leadership, helping strengthen this community. There's so many different success stories. We can talk about that here in our local community of our teens going through our different leadership programs.
So I'll throw a little story in this one, right? I had the opportunity to go on one of the trips that you were talking earlier with some community leaders from Palm Beach County. And one of the stories that has been in my head since I left Israel was the story of this young lady that we met who works for the Federation in the northern Lebanon area. I don't remember the city. Yep. And we were sitting down at lunch talking, and I'm like, do you feel safe? Like, aren't you worried about these missiles flying over your head, or having to hear a siren and having to run, having to be in a shelter within 15 seconds? And why don't you come move to Palm Beach County? And her response to me goes, Noel, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel more safe here. I'm like, well, what do you mean? She goes, well, I see all the anti-Semitism going on in the United States right now. And when she said that to me, like, I get goosebumps hearing that, because no one wants to hear that is happening right here in our backyard. And I love our community. I think we live in one of the most amazing counties and one of the most amazing regions in the world, right? But that hurt, right? So that being said, anti-Semitism is absolutely on the rise.
Correct.
And it's ugly.
Yeah.
What role does the Federation play in addressing this challenge?
So one is I have to thank you, and we've had about 25 other leaders in Palm Beach County, non-Jewish leaders, participate with us in these 3 different Israel study tour missions. You went to Israel, you really, you learned, we took you all over, you explored, you asked really, really difficult questions. And the goal is for you to come back like you are and so many others, to be strong allies for not just for Israel and for the Jewish community, but we all have a shared mission of combating all forms of hatred. So as you're saying, anti-Semitism, very sadly, has been on a dramatic rise even before October 7th. Where we stand right now, the state of Florida, according to the Anti-Defamation League, according to their data, need to give them credit. State of Florida ranks number 4th in the country in the number of anti-Semitic incidents in the entire country. Florida is number 4.
Oh my gosh.
And Palm Beach County ranks number 1.
Oh,
in
Lord.
the state of Florida. So unfortunately, incidents of anti-Semitism and Jew hatred are very, very prevalent. And that has only accelerated since October 7th. Over the past year, our Jewish institutions have received over 100 bomb threats. And so fortunately, none of them actually obviously didn't turn out to be, they're all hoaxes, but it raises a level of fear. We've seen an increase in the level of white nationalists moving to North Palm Beach County and Martin County, white supremacists. 2 years ago, and kind of our defining moment was we saw a significant tick in anti-Semitism in Palm Beach County 2 years ago after the swastika was projected on the AT&T building. If you remember, it was a laser. Mm-hmm. We basically got together and we said, not here, not on our watch. And we established the Palm Beach Center to combat anti-Semitism and hatred. And this is a groundbreaking initiative. We're again working with an incredible group of dedicated philanthropists and leaders. We all came together and we said, we want to play a role in doing what we can to address anti-Semitism and combat all forms of hatred. We raised a significant amount of dollars very quickly, and the center really has 3 or so main areas of focus. One is community security. We want to make sure that our Jewish institutions are safe and secure, and our Jewish constituents, when they walk into these buildings, that they feel as though that they are safe. We increase security through significant grants to 35 different Jewish institutions in North County. The second area of focus is education. We're very proud to have a thriving relationship with the Palm Beach County School District. They are incredible in their commitment to ensure that not only the state mandate to implement Holocaust education is being implemented, but they also have a zero tolerance policy when they see acts of anti-Semitism in any of the schools in Palm Beach County. So we continue to support efforts like that. Later this year, we're taking 20 principals and administrators from Palm Beach County to Poland and to Israel in a program called March of the Educators. So they're better equipped to address anti-Semitism and teach the Holocaust in the schools. And the last area is building allyship. We know combating anti-Semitism and hatred is not just an issue of the Jewish community, and building allies in the non-Jewish community is something that's critically important. And through these Israel study tours, other efforts to bring sort of community leadership together, I had the opportunity to present to a group of faculty at Palm Beach Atlantic University last week, which is a tremendous opportunity. That's the way in which we're building allies. We as a Jewish community, we do not feel alone. Thanks to people like you, Noel, and the others who have participated on our study tours. We have strong allies, and we're a model for other communities across the country.
So, that being said, building bridges between communities is more important than ever, right? It's so important. How does the Federation engage interfaith dialogue and cooperation?
We have a community relations council through Federation. That's sort of the arm of Federation that helps facilitate and foster dialogue and shared programming, and really our shared values of sort of elevating society in Palm Beach County. We regularly interact with different ethnic groups, different faith-based groups. I'll go back to kind of one of the programs that sort of is close to my heart, Jewish Volunteer Center, because when we're volunteering, we're doing MLK Day of Service. It's not just the Jews doing volunteer. We're working together with Palm Beach Atlantic University, with different churches. We're all coming together with a shared value to elevate our society and build tolerance in Palm Beach County.
So let's take a step back and look at the big picture, right? And let's just focus here on Palm Beach County. What are the most urgent challenges facing the Jewish community right here in our home backyard?
One is we need to continue to stay ahead of the curve on combating anti-Semitism and hatred. I really focus on the hatred. That's an issue that's only getting worse. It's not getting better. So how do we continue to advance the efforts of our Palm Beach Anti-Semitism Center? Two is we also have to recognize that we have certain social and human service crises in our community. Although our demographics are getting younger, we still have one of the largest concentrations of Holocaust survivors living in Palm Beach County. Alpert Jewish Family Services playing such a critical role in serving the needs of our Holocaust survivors. We also have to recognize that we have significant issues related to mental health challenges in our community. And again, I need to give credit to Alpert Jewish Family Services that's really helping support those individuals in our community that need mental health counseling. And a lot of these are teens. We live in a time where you and I both know, we both talk about this. It's so difficult to be a teen right now. There's so many pressures. How do we make sure that our teens continue to be healthy and are making smart decisions? The other challenge we have, and this is a great opportunity that for us, is how do we catch up to our growth? There's so much growth going on. One of the new initiatives that we just launched this year is called Activate Jewish Life Movement. And we launched this movement knowing that the average age of Palm Beach is going lower, which doesn't happen in Jewish communities. It's now below 60. Average age in downtown West Palm Beach is 36 years old. 63% of families with children living in Jewish Palm Beach have moved here over the past 6 years. So what are we doing to connect them? We talked about before that our JCC preschool and aftercare is sold out, and our Meyer day school, our Meyer Prep day school continues to increase their enrollment. We're about to build the Extra Center, a 19,000 square foot addition on our Palm Beach Gardens campus that serves as a multi-purpose center just to expand our capacity to be serving the significant number of people coming onto our campus to engage in Jewish life. And down the road, we're going to be building a new JCC down in Boynton Beach because there's 90,000 people living in a Jewish home down in Boynton Beach. That's one of the largest Jewish communities in North America, just in Boynton Beach.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what an opportunity we have.
So long term, is that what do you think is going to be the biggest impact of this movement on our community?
I think long term is that we're going to basically be creating multiple hubs, multiple spaces and places. So the over 200,000 people living in a Jewish home, and that's going to continue to increase. Our goal is to ensure that Jewish life and Jewish community has relevance and meaning for them. And I'll say something very unfederation-y, meaning that our success is not necessarily how much do we raise. We are a philanthropic organization. We'll never shy away from that. We can only do what we're able to do with philanthropy. But what we want to make sure is that through our philanthropy, that we're ensured that it doesn't matter who you are, what age, where you live, that you have a place in our community that has relevance and meaning, and you are inspired.
I love it. I love it. So leadership isn't just about today, right? We talk about it at the chamber with our leadership all the time. I call it building our bench, right? What are our future board members, elected officials, community leaders going to look like? How are you helping develop the next generation of Jewish leaders in the county?
One of our flagship programs, is called the Mandel Center for Leadership. Mort Mandel, who was a dedicated philanthropist here in Palm Beach and in Cleveland, he had a house here. His focus was, it's all about who. So under his leadership and generous philanthropy of the Mandel Foundation, we established the Mandel Center for Leadership about 9 or 10 years ago. We have about 5 different leadership programs. We have the Mandel Leadership Institute. This is for individuals that are basically rising in seniority in their Jewish organizations. It could be federation or agency, synagogues, it doesn't matter. We provide them with skills and training. We have our Emerging Leaders Program, which is a 1.5-year program, again, to take a rising group of young leaders, emerging leaders, so they're prepped and trained to assume the mantle of leadership in our community, not just in the Jewish community. We also know that many of these younger individuals, that they're taking on leadership positions in other places as well. They're going into Leadership Palm Beach. They're getting involved with you. So again, for us, one of the success measures is not just do they become a board chair of federation, but take someone like our shared friend, Tracy Rollins, who's a graduate of the Mandel Leadership Institute. It's amazing that she's your board chair. She's your board chair.
She's our incoming chair.
She's your incoming chair.
She's amazing.
It's amazing that she's your incoming chair. And we're so proud that she's gone through our Mandel Leadership Institute. That's how we're contributing. That's again, our success is knowing that we're helping it, provide that level of inspiration. Or when Tracy is getting more involved in federation, she's been inspired by you all, and that's helping elevate us.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about technology, right? Because that's really shaping how all organizations across the board operate. So how's the Federation adapting to this like digital landscape that's changing right in front of our eyes?
Yeah. Quick caveat: I suck in technology, and so
You said that before. I've heard you say that.
I suck in technology, and I will continue to suck in technology. Look, we are very much looking into how AI is transforming the world. Very much looking into how different mediums on social media is helping communicate our message and our story. We know it's not same old, same old. The days of obviously paper invitations and mailings and newspapers just don't exist anymore. We know we have to get creative. And again, how do you stay ahead of the curve on a very quickly moving medium to express our story, what we do as a Jewish Federation, and what's going to inspire people as a Jewish Federation?
Success. Let's talk about success, right? It can be measured in so many different ways. What success means to me is really different than what success means to you. So what does success look like for you? And I want to hear this from a personal, like I want to hear it personally and for the Federation. So let's talk about you first. What does success look like for you?
I think what success looks like for me is that if I'm at a board meeting for our Federation, and I'm looking around the room, I'm looking at who's sitting at our table, and is it representative of our community? Are there people who are sitting around the table that they have been involved, they're kind of climbing a ladder of a leadership, that they're feeling a sense of inspiration, and they're basically contributing to ensure that we're fulfilling the mission of our Federation. They're rolling up their sleeves. I smile knowing that we filled a room with 60 people who are on our board that are so deeply committed to our work and are so actively engaged. It's, success for me is also looking at our professional team. We have an amazing group of professionals. Like I'll go back to Mort Mandel. It's all about who. And, we have over 100 people who work at the Jewish Federation, and every single one of them they're not just high performers, they're high caliber individuals who have deep convictions and believe in the mission of our Jewish Federation. Not everyone who's Jewish who works for the Jewish Federation, but we all kind of share in our values. And so our team, they inspire me, and I feel such a privilege every day to work with this incredible, dedicated group of professionals at our Federation. And success is seeing our agencies be successful. So when our JCC, our Jewish Family Services, Meyer, when they're all doing groundbreaking initiatives that's getting national recognition, that also inspires me, seeing that we're helping support them, we're playing a role, and we're able to, in some way, contribute to their success as a vibrant Jewish organization.
Let's kind of reflect back a little bit and talk a little bit about a defining lesson that you have carried, right? So tell me one that has really stuck with you throughout your career.
When I first came to the community, I always keep going back to Mort Mandel, who was such an influential person in my life, professionally and personally. And I would say that Palm Beach is so unique. We have such these amazing, globally successful business people and philanthropists, and be able to sit in a room with Charles Bronfman, who's the founder of Birthright Israel. It's a very humbling experience. And to be able to sit in a room with Mort Mandel, my first 4 years or so, I went to his house once a month and basically got an executive level, to executive leadership course, just by learning from Mort Mandel. And he always had a phrase that really helped me: is think big, start slow. And we have big aspirations for our community. We're not shy about our aspirations, our community. We also want to make sure that we are methodical in our approach. And I think that's one of the things that's made our organization successful, is to keep pushing the envelope, but at the same time, make sure what we're doing with excellence, and we're paying attention to the details as best as we possibly can. We're not always perfect, but we're still kind of working in a way that's moving towards something, yet maintaining kind of a big, audacious goal.
What about someone looking to follow in your footsteps, right? Someone that wants to get involved in the community. What's one piece of advice that you would give them?
The importance of relationships. Everything we do at our organization is about the relationship. People support people. People give money to people. People do things for people. People want other people to be successful because you respect them, you generally like them, and they inspire you. and always take the time to focus on the building of the relationship. Don't pursue this work in a transactional manner. We're not a transaction. We are in the people building business. We're in the relationship building business. And I just, over my 27 years working in the Jewish Federation movement, some of the relationships I first made 26, 27 years ago, I'm still privileged to have today. I still have mentors that I call on a regular basis that are still willing to kind of give me their advice and counsel. And there are people I've been working with for over 25 years that, we all share in that passion for strengthening Jewish life, both in our local communities as well as nationally and in Israel.
All right. So for those people, we got to start to wrap things up here a little bit because I could be here all day with you.
Yeah.
For those listening who want to be a part of this work, what's the best way for them to get involved with the Jewish Federation?
So go on our website, jewishpalmbeach.org. There on our website, you can kind of see what we do. You can see our events that are coming up. Please come to any of our events. You can volunteer with us. If you want to start to talk with us about leadership opportunities, you can talk to us about philanthropy, jewishpalmbeach.org.
What about non-Jews? Can they get involved? How does someone like me get involved?
We would love, we have very open tent. Again, please volunteer with us. Please find a way to support us. I think, again, a big part of what we're doing is strengthening Jewish life. We also recognize that we have to play a role in strengthening the greater Palm Beach society. So partnerships with people like you and all of your friends, it's critically important.
All right, Michael, anything we've forgotten? Anything where we talked about where people could get more information? Anything we haven't thought about? Anything we haven't talked about?
I want to thank you because one, thank you as I started for going with us on this Israel study tour. You've developed it. It's been a wonderful friendship. Thank you for being our ally. Thank you for what you're doing with Palm Beach North. This is an incredible community, and we can't do it without the important work that you're doing with the chamber. So I appreciate everything that you're doing and your leadership.
So I'm going to turn around and do this and say this to you, right? Because I want to thank you, right? That trip to Israel was life-changing, and I've told you that a million times. I learned so much, and there were so many moments that touched my soul, right? And I learned so much, changed the way that I look at the world. And I will always be an ally. And I can't thank you enough because that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I was so honored to be a part of that, Michael. So thank you and the Federation for taking me on that trip, along with some amazing human beings that will always have a special connection with, including you, sharing snacks in the back of the bus that we were talking about.
I know there's
earlier.
several million people who listen to this podcast on a regular basis. And I actually want to put a plug in for you that anyone who wants to take you on a trip, there's a benefit because you bring the best bag of snacks and goodies. And I actually would like to, on behalf of the board of directors of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County, invite you on every single trip that I'm on because I came home feeling very nourished. So thank you, Noah.
God. Well, Michael, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for spending time with us today. This was fun. I learned a ton, and I'm sure our listeners did as well. So everybody watching and listening, please make sure to like, follow, tell everybody about all the amazing things going on in Palm Beach North. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you. Bye-bye.